This is the new 7-inch Bunka by Zuma, hand-forged synthetic Kurouchi, BG42 stainless steel ebony octagonal handle, and it's the second in the Zuma collection, right after the chef's. We're going to prep a bunch of ingredients so you can see this knife in action in various ways. But first, I'm going to show you the new studio. In my head, there's some theatrical, dramatic music playing. Let's go. That would be my overhead light for the cutting board. My key light, the primary. I've got this one that bounces off the angled ceiling here, which does a lot for the entire space. And then I've got a little warm accent light back here. And you'll notice a lot of this looks familiar in the sense of the previous studio setup. But this is where things just kind of come together. This was on accident. Oh, I love it. It's controlled chaos. It's really the only way that I could describe this. The knife shadows on the ceiling is just, again, that was on accident. That was the part. It's cool. Familiar, but quite a bit different than the previous setup in Tennessee. I just moved to Georgia, just in case you're new to the channel. And if you see any of the old videos, you'll see some familiarity. Got these shelves on the TikTok shop of all places, garage shelves, and super just, I love it. Cedar plank, 3 18-inch magnetic strips going across, same thing here, same thing there, built that. I got this set up in no time. It was just, I thought about it for the last 6 weeks and it came together. So I'm pretty psyched. Welcome to the Georgia studio. Let's hope that I don't move again anytime soon. Back to the Zuma Bunka. BG42 stainless steel coming in at a 61-62 Rockwell. A hand-forged San Mai Blade with a synthetic Kurouchi finish and an ebony wood octagonal handle. 7 inches for a Bunka is a perfect length. 6.5, totally good to go. But that extra ½ inch allows this to be more of an all-purpose, could completely replace a 7-inch chef's knife. So if you're looking for a primary or a new primary that's got the length and the workhorse ability to it, this would be it. I've got a bunch of ingredients. I'm going to talk about this a bit more as I'm prepping. Let's dive in. Okay, I'm going to start off with some green pepper here. I'm going to show you 2 different ways that you can break down a green pepper. Let me get my trash bucket. Boom. Okay, here we go. First way is where you can come down the side and you're essentially aiming around your little pocket of seeds, and you're going to get some like that. You can trim that out. I like to then take this and cut off the bottom. That would be the first way that you can get started breaking down. That's all usable. That's usable. And then with these, I would just come in, hit them on an angle, and you can get the rest of these seeds out. Okay, something I just did there is I used the blade to scoop on an angle so I'm not destroying the edge. Here's what's interesting about this Bunka. If you notice the parallelness of the spine and the edge, it's very straight and very straight up until about the spine where the K-tip and the little curvature right here. I would describe this almost as a K-tip Nakiri compared to other Bunkas like this Enzo that tapers off, this one that tapers off, Yoshikane that tapers off more at the top, the other Enzo Prep Bunkas, this Takayuki, they narrow at the tip, that spine drops, or there's more of a pronounced curvature upwards. So that scooping that I just did there is very Nakiri-esque. Not that you can't scoop at other Bunka, But I would definitely put this in a, could we call this a K-tip Nakiri based off of the design? Absolutely. Okay, come in here, off to the side. That's the first way. Not my favorite, but it is a way. How I like to cut a bell pepper. Aim right to the base of the stem, about a 1/2 inch or so. And as you cut that, totally usable, discard. And I go to the bottom, slice that off, totally usable. And then I will come in with a little slice, and then essentially I will fillet out the seeds and all of that pith in a swift motion. Pull out the rest of the little bit of seeds that linger. And now I have one piece to work with, including the top and the bottom. On this other side, you can see I still got some seeds that are sticking around there. I had to work with multiple pieces. Can you do it that way? Yes, but what I just did is definitely better. I like to come in on the bottom part and kind of even that out. I'm gonna do, I should probably do a smallish dice with these. So let's get rocking. Okay. By the way, this is not a first use prep sesh. I have used this blade over the last 3 to 4 weeks since I got it because I really wanted to use it. I love this Zuma chef's knife. Love it. I use it a lot. It stays in my kitchen block most of the time, unless I'm testing out some others and I need some space. Sometimes I'll pull that one out because it's one of my tried and true. I know I'll always bring it back downstairs. And I honestly, in the sense of performance, would put these up there with some Japanese knives that are going for $300, $400, $500. You get that feel of it being hand forged, which it is. These are hand forged in China with American stainless steel based off of Japanese styles. It's a mashup. It's a beautiful mashup. And the reality is, if we did make this in Japan, it would be at least double the cost. So we don't. We're gonna make some stuff a bit more affordable so you can have a really awesome feeling badass blade that is not super expensive. Okay, let's go to this piece here. I am trying to, I don't want to say abuse this blade in the video, but I'm going to scrape, I'm going to push, I'm going to slide. I'm going to probably even do a little bit of a rock. I'm not worried about babying this blade because I want to push it to its limits to a degree. Could you use this like a Wusthof? You could. You're going to be maintaining it quite a bit more often. Should you use this like a Wusthof? No. A softer steel blade, Zwilling Wusthof, K. Sabatier's, Global. No, you can, you want to treat it with a little bit of TLC, but you don't need to treat it like some of these super high-end Japanese knives. I would beat this more than a Yoshikane, but it'll perform like a Yoshikane. It's thin behind the edge. It holds an edge really well. The geometry is great because it's forged. It's not stamped. Not that you can't have stamped blades with good geometry, but there's a whole different feel with a hammer forged or hand forged type of knife. This holds an edge very well. It's coming at the 61 to 62 Rockwell, so think VG10 SG2 hybrid, but it just, I mean, I'm hardly putting any effort into my prep here. Something that I have been trying to work on, and it depends on the knife. Sometimes you absolutely can't do it, especially with super, super thin lasers, lightweight lasers, whether they're stamped or forged. A lot of them are going to be stamped anyway. at least the ones that I have. I've been trying to hardly grip the blade. Like, I'm just holding it enough to stabilize it left and right, letting the handle hit my palm to stabilize it up and down, and just let the blade do its thing. And with that, I think that lighter grip, less force, more attention on the blade working for me than trying to work the blade, I feel like that is giving me more life to my blades. And it's just completely changing my prep experience. I believe for a long time when I was working with my German knives of various brands, by the way, another reason that I like the second way I cut this up is that when I'm filleting out the seeds, I'm also getting that, what do we call that? The vein, that pith that sticks up there at the same time. And it just makes for more even prep. Okay, what was I talking about? I worked with German knives for years before I got anything Japanese, which was a Shun Haneski, and I got a Global Sai Nakiri. Those knives are fantastic, but they weren't my everyday. Actually, they became my everyday, but I developed the habit of working with these German knives and just feeling like I really had to work them. The geometry wasn't as good as the Japanese that I have on most of them. The edge retention, the sharpness, I wasn't keeping them as sharp back then. And it just, I think it got me into this habit of just feeling like I really had to work a blade instead of, like I said earlier, letting it work for me. Whereas now, just letting the blade do what it needs to do, it's a game changer for me. And I would highly encourage you, even if you have a German knife, something that's a bit wider behind the edge, maybe not the greatest geometry in the world, make sure you get it nice and sharp, and then just flow with it. Just let loose your grip a bit. I think that's the big thing. Okay, sweet potato. I'm gonna save these onions. Now, this is a real sweet potato because it is pale orange. Those real dark orange ones are yams, the more you know. With a knife like this, people are generally afraid to dive into product like this that's real firm. I'm not. So let's do it. I'm gonna right down the center. Nice and firm. I'm going into the product, and then I'm just gonna make sure that when I'm hitting down like this. I'm not coming in on an angle or anything like that, because that is where things can get real dangerous. That got hung up on my hand there. So I'm gonna back up a little bit on the handle. I'm also gonna try and use more of the blade compared to what I was before. So notice that when I started at the tip, I've got space back here with my push chop. Whereas before, when I first got started, I was more back here, and I'm running out of room at the end of the slice. I mean, that's pretty effortless right there. I have not sharpened this blade, stropped it right out of the box, have used it, stropped it after each use. Yeah, that accentuated, is that the word? Push there is what's helping with that release. I'm not gonna go ham on these because actually I might just leave it at that. I'll do a couple small dice. These are going to be steamed and pureed for the baby. 7 months old. Wild. you hear that drag? Normally, people are like, oh my gosh, your blade. Ooh, a little slippy there. Not worried about it with this. These sharpen nicely. I've noticed that, well, I've never let either of these, well, the Gyuto that I've had, the chef's knife, I've never let it get really bad. But what I've done with that blade is every, I don't know, couple of weeks, I've just put it on a 5000 or this Enzo finishing stone. Couple passes, just brings it right back to life, but stropping this between use has done the trick. So it feels really good. I can't think of any flaws at this point with this blade. I didn't think that I would. I've been looking for reasons to dislike it. I will say this, okay? Because you guys expect me to be real with you. This chef's knife, I believe, is a half, so it's 0.5 millimeters thinner. I think it's 3 to 2.5 or 2.5 to 2. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll put it somewhere here on the screen. This at the pinch grip has Yoshikane type of feel. That distal taper where it's thicker and then it thins out along the spine. This has it. It's just not as dominant, not as noticeable because we're starting with thinner material at the base, which makes sense because it's an inch shorter of a blade. It's meant to be lighter. If I had to change one thing though about this, it would be give me that spine thickness on this knife. I love it. It feels great. It's super comfortable with the pinch grip. The choil is rounded. The spine is rounded. It's very comfortable. But personally, if I had to have everything my way, which is not the way life goes, that's the only thing that I would change. I will say this, if you're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna wait around for the wider spine version to come out, I want that. Probably not gonna happen. So just go with it. Pretend I didn't say that. It's just me being totally honest. I think it would be the perfect bunka. It's almost there. It's 98% there. Sweet potato, no problem. You need a workhorse blade? We got you. Okay, I'm gonna save that for later so this isn't an 80-minute long video. Ooh, let's do some green onion. Oh, look at these. I am finally living in civilization again, not where I was in Tennessee. And look, I can get thick, a 2-pound bag of green onion. I was lucky to find a little bunch of 6 that were thinner than my pinky at the base. These things are thumb worthy. I'm very excited about that. I've been using a lot more green onion than regular onion. I don't know, I can't do raw onion anymore. I taste it for like 2 days. Raw onion, especially raw garlic. Getting old is weird. Okay, I'm 40 now. The movers, well, I hired 2 people to help me load and then 2 people to help me unload, and I'm glad I did. Usually my wife and I did all the moving on our own, but with the baby, not quite possible. So I hired 4 people total in each location. They helped me tremendously. And when I said I was 40, one guy was like, he was being super nice. He's like, oh, I didn't think you were in your 40s. It's like, I'm just trying to get a good tip. Okay, okay. First garage door opening experience. Can feel it literally rumbling in my feet. I'm guessing it's not gonna get picked up because the noise cancellation I use, but maybe you heard that, maybe not. I'm gonna make note of it because if it's really intrusive, then, well, I'll just have to get whatever, I'll have to deal with it. Okay, let's do some, I feel like I'm gonna get a little tap going at the base here because it's thicker and bigger than the ones that I've been working with. Woo, okay. I don't know if y'all caught that, but I came down more like this, and this like stuck in the cutting board for a hot second there, which is a good thing that we saw, because guess what? The edge is totally fine. It didn't break, it didn't chip or crack. Let's try again. With this straighter edge profile, I can get into a really nice tap with every part of the blade, even essentially behind my finger even more, because of that slight hook right in there, and then it kind of comes back, that offset type of vibe. Is that the right description? I don't know. It's my first video back after an intense move. My brain is still catching up. Okay, there's our tap. I'm gonna do a little rock chop, but I'm gonna get a little bit more. Notice my wrist is basically still. I am not holding this super tight. I'm really, really just letting this blade just do what it wants to do. So my wrist is getting a little tired at that point. So I'm firming up a bit, so I'm using a little bit of my arm now instead of just that. There was a slight change, whether you can see it or not, I don't know. Here we go. Let's do a little push. Push is fine, but you can go a little faster with this. So the weight at the tip of the blade, because of the extra steel and the length, is better for a tap with the top third of the knife. Certain knives that are thinner at the tip there, all your weight is behind the mid spine. So doing a tap, I'm usually at the mid or to the back of the blade, depending on how thick the ingredient is. But with this, the weight is working in my favor at the tip. So if you're a big fan of the tap chop, and you've got the skill set to be able to tap chop, notice a couple I'm hitting, but they're not going through. It's because I'm really trying to not use a lot of pressure with this, especially with the tap, because you don't want to totally wreck the edge. Beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I probably shouldn't, but I'm gonna do a rock chop, and I'm gonna see how this holds up before getting into the onion. Okay, so I blocked my window off completely. Oh, I got a little, my monitor's not on that camera. I got a little hole here from previous. I'm gonna have to put some gaff tape, whatever it's called, on the back there. Okay, so onions, they stink up my studio. I took down the ceiling fan to mount my top camera, and I can't get back there to open the window. So I have an air purifier. As soon as I'm done here, open up the door, get that thing in here on full blast, and hope that, you know, this, they put like a plush, almost like a shag carpet up in the, it's just, it's kind of weird. I don't know. It's not 1972 anymore. Come on. Okay, that one's a little thick yet. So, rock chop. Now, usually if I'm using any type of higher Rockwell, finer steel, Japanese style blade or Japanese blade, I want to keep it nice and shallow like this. Very light grip. It's more of a push, a lazy push than a rock because of the fact that I'm so shallow to the board. You can see I'm not going like this. It's more like that, okay? This is how you essentially rock chop with a higher Rockwell blade, granted that you are on an appropriate cutting board as well. As you can see, I'm not torquing, I'm not pivoting really hard. I like that, a lazy push chop. There's the garage door again. Wonder where she's going. Guarantee she's gonna come back with some bags in her hand, I can tell you that. Okay, so let's get this a little bit higher up and go into a more traditional rock chop, which with a straight blade profile like this that's 7 inches is hard to do anyway. You don't get that real flow like you would with an 8 to 10 inch, especially something with a nice curvature, but let's go. Yeah, it feels weird. It's working. Do I feel comfortable doing this? Not really, because I'm not a big fan of the cutting technique, especially with a straighter edge profile. But the point is that I'm doing this with a 61 to 62 Rockwell blade that is pretty thin behind the edge, that then essentially works its way into more of a workhorse type of geometry. I didn't hear any fracturing. I'm looking for any divots. In certain lighting, you can see like these little, think about like a roundabout, like it goes boop, but it's real boop, just little boop, real light, but you can see them in light, and there's nothing. I've got one spot here. Okay, it was a piece of green onion. It looks totally normal. Little strap. Oh, this is like moody, warm Brandon. Cold and rigid. Normal Brandon. Okay. I think I'm done. Let me finish this off. Lazy push. Okay. Feeling good. It feels good. I think earlier I was talking about how I haven't been eating raw onion, but I've been doing this instead. And one of my favorite things has been to just make some ground beef, salt, pepper. That's it. And then when it's done, ton of green onion. Mix it together. Love it. Doing that for tacos or even just like a little rice bowl or something has been a great addition to our everyday meals. Okay. Got some yellow onion here. I like to cut off the root, the stem, right down the center. knife down, and then peel. Smart. About to get real stinky in here now. So it's Black Friday season, regardless of when you're seeing this. It could be the middle of July. Black Friday, we get a bunch of great sales that are happening as of today, the 14th, my dad's birthday. I already texted him, but I will call him. Just got to get that out of the way nice and early. Bunch of sales. I believe the Zuma Chef's knife is on sale. I don't think the Bunka is. It's brand new. Like, who does that? Come on. It's really affordably priced, though. Here we go, Julienne. Ooh. Beautiful. I really like this knife. Like I said earlier, I've been using it for a couple of weeks just for simple prep during the move. I think I've cooked 2 times, like a real proper cook sesh since I broke down the studio. Last night, I used the Miyabi Iki concept, not the official one. I had to send them back because there's so few and they're selling fast. We need them. But I used the concept one. It feels really good. It doesn't have the glass dip or the shinogi grind to it, but it's fantastic. Okay, let's do... I just blasted through that. I'm going to do a super, super fine Julienne. You're going to see a lot of misses. It's because I'm keeping the rhythm as I'm moving my fingers, okay? For a super fine one, tap, 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 miss, tap, 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 miss, tap, 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 miss. It's as your fingers go through. Here we go. Super fine. Get out of here. This is like deli sandwich hoagie fine. You know, when you order a sub or something and they've got that big pile of onions that are this thin, they're using a deli slicer. 99% of the time they're using a deli slicer, and it's generally one of those that are just an automated thing. You pop it on there, press the button, and it goes zzz. It's not cheating, it's being smart. Okay. Whew, man, my eyes are going. So I wear contacts, and usually I never get onion eye burn. I'm getting it right now. Maybe it's just because of how fine that onion Julienne was. I hope I don't start crying. I almost started crying in my last video. Not really. I got emotional in my last video. What was it? The Atoma sharpening video with the global. It was a fun one, but just saying goodbye to my studio. But I'm happy. I'm over it. I'm so over it because I got this. Let's just keep going. Regular Julienne. I just realized I feel like I'm standing a little awkwardly right now. I'm trying to hit that camera, talk to you, think about what I'm saying next, move a ridiculously sharp knife, and usually I never have my board this far away from the counter. So let's pull that back a bit, which hopefully will still work for this camera. It looks like it's in focus. 45-degree angle. If you're cutting like this, then your knife should be on an angle like that. Ideally, you want to keep your knife parallel to the side of your board. So if you just pivot your right foot back or your left foot back, That feels better. I don't feel like I'm reaching. Excellent. Okay. We already saw some rock chop. So what I'm going to do here for the cilantro, make this real quick because I want larger pieces. I like the stem on there as well. Nice little pop. Unless it's super thick, like that's a little too thick. That's a little too thick. Just lightly pinch your finger, pull out. Get a couple of these bigger ones out. That's good enough. Get rid of you. Boop, boop. Okay. Okay, I guess there were some thicker ones than I thought. Let's say you're using a super thin, super high Rockwell knife. SG2, well, not even SG2, they can handle, it depends on how thin it is. SG2 plus, 63 Rockwell plus, or even a VG10 or something that's just super, super thin. I want you to bunch the crap out of it like this, okay? And then you're gonna come in and you're just gonna do a push. When you get in, use this side of the blade, press the cilantro or whatever else you're working with up against it, use that for leverage. And then what I'm doing, at this point, I don't really need to rebunch. I'm just pulling back as I'm pushing the product into the side of the blade. I had to rebunch there because I let loose in my grip. Use the side of that blade. And then I'm just kind of rolling my fingers down and back using the side of the blade. And then when you get to the end here, take some of these loosey-goosey pieces, generally at the top and the bottom, and then use the side of the blade, bunch it all up again. I'm just seeing how this will. Oh, I just had a moment. I've been thinking about different ways to do that cross chop with a Japanese knife, and it just came to me. Okay, we saw this in real time. Normally, you would pinch the top of the spine and then you would pivot off the blade like this. I'm hardly doing it. This rock chop, you can get away with this. Don't do that cross chop with this because you're using a bit more force. It's a different positioning. Your pressure is going to be completely different than what you're used to. But look what I just did there. I kept the tip off. And I'm using the back third of the blade and I'm mincing in the cross chop position, and it's really no different than essentially doing this, which you're totally fine to do because you can use more of the blade. It's just a really fast tap, but if you do this, it's giving you that same control and stability and less fatigue because you're using two hands and not all the weight. And I'm just not letting the tip hit the cutting board. I've been thinking about this for a very long time. And there you have it. Higher Rockwell, don't let go like I just did. Higher Rockwell Japanese knife that's thin behind the edge that you're worried about pivoting with. You need to mince. Boom. You saw it live here. Okay. That's enough. I'm digging it. I'm really, really digging it. This knife and the studio. I'm Chef Brandon with Cutlery and More.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. Check out the all-new Zuma 7-inch Bunka BG42 stainless steel. Synthetic Kurouchi, hand-forged San Mai, made in China with American steel based off of a Japanese style, the Bunka. Whew. That was a good video to break in the studio with. Now I got to get rid of the stinky onion smell in here. See ya. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.